All motivation podcasts are strictly based on opinion. Any facts given should and will be backed up by a source. If a source is not given, then it should not be taken otherwise.
Now I'ma I get it until my numbers call. Till I'm just a name and a memory on my homies' wall. I be moving on, I'm trying to just build my dome up. Till I'm just a snake, my toes up.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of Motivation Inspired. Of course, I'm the host, Curtis Moore, Curly Mo, or you can call me Mo. You're going to have to excuse me a bit. I'm feeling a bit under the weather, but it's nothing that I cannot handle, of course. Today's episode is going to be a bit controversial and it's going to involve some strong opinions. If for some reason you feel yourself getting heated, I urge you to step away from this episode and maybe wait till the next one. But I hope you decide to stay tuned in because sometimes hearing a different view of things makes you realize some other things. Not saying that you can be talked into things, but sometimes just hearing somebody else's view opens your eyes to something else. Today's episode is going to be called Go to Church for What? Go to church. Why should I go to church? What reason should I have to go to church? Now, in saying that, I don't want you to get the wrong idea, but this is a topic that I've been wanting to address, and I want you to listen because, like I said, it's not what it sounds like. I am going to get into the meat of why people should or should not go to church. And as I said before, if it's too opinionated or too heated, please just exit the podcast. So let's get into it. So people are asked all the time, why don't you go to church? Well, here's some answers that you may have heard over the years. Church is too fake, contradictory, do good in public and different in private. Now, I've heard a lot of this. I heard a lot of people being asked to go to church, and when they do go to church, they see people acting so, quote unquote, high and mighty, and in public, they are a totally different person outside of church. Now, with that being said, people are going to be people. People are not perfect. That's not an excuse because you hear that excuse all the time. But church members are people just like anybody else, just like people outside of church are people just like anybody else. So the best thing to do is not judge anybody, whether you go to church or don't go to church. The best thing to do is not judge someone because we're all humans. Hopefully we're all humans anyway. Okay, next reason. All they do is talk about money. They promote money more than they promote saving lives. Now, you go to church, you hear people saying things like, we got a building fund we need to pay for. We got these bills we got to pay for. We got the so-and-so to pay for. Now, from a outside person's standpoint, I do agree that a lot of churches do talk about money more than they talk about helping people or saving people's lives. So, church members, be careful how you present yourself in church. When you start talking more about money, what do you think people is going to see? Now, on the other side, there are bills that need to be paid. There are fellowships that need to be funded. And there are things that need to be done that involves money. So don't get so caught up in listening to the pay this and pay that. At the same time, church members, you got to watch yourself and watch and see, is this the important thing? And make sure that you're being led by God on these money matters. Next thing, church people are so hypocritical. They judge people for things and do things equal or even worse. And that is another true statement. You'll see a lot of church members that'll turn around and will come up to somebody, why you ain't going to church? You need to cut that out. All that drinking and all that having sex and all that stuff. But then they're turning around stealing, or they're turning around cussing, or they're turning around and they live with somebody and not married. Or the little gum that they take from the store, or buying food stamps and cheating the government, different things like that. Oh yeah, those are about as bad too. A sin is a sin in the eyesight of God. So, no one has the right to be hypocritical. If someone is coming to church, a church is not some place that you go that you're automatically well. Church is a place that you're supposed to go to get well. Now, I'm not saying that somebody that don't go to church is sick. Don't take it the wrong way. What I'm saying is when someone is going to church, they're going to church to get better at some of the things that they got going on in their life, if you want to call it that. Now, at the same time, you got to watch the difference between being hypocritical and trying to help someone. Now, sometimes we need to hear the truth, and sometimes we need to hear that something's wrong without being so defensive. We get so defensive when someone brings forth some of the things that we're doing wrong. So one of the defense mechanisms that we do is we try to find fault in that other person when we need to be looking at ourselves. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that that person calling it out is right, but what I'm saying is we all should pay more attention of the things that we're doing rather than someone else. Next thing, church is only used to endorse pastors. Pastors will have wealthy things while members live in poverty. Now, you see a lot of that too. Now, I got to say this part. Then I'm going to go to the flip side like I've been doing. When you're a pastor of a church, you're taking on a lot more than just a normal, quote unquote, church member. Now, at the same time, with that being said, the more that you're being followed by God, or the more that you're following God and doing what God asks you to do, the more God is going to bless you. It talks about it in the Bible all the time. The more that you give, the more God is going to bless you. So, with that being said, there's nothing wrong with a pastor being blessed by God. But if you're not taking your blessings and blessing other people, or you're minimizing blessing other people, then what kind of message are you sending to people? If church members are in need and all you're saying to them is, well, I'm going to pray for you, sister, or I'm going to pray for you, brother, but you're not trying to find a way to help that church member or even members outside the church, then what are you really doing? So it's okay for pastors to be blessed beyond measures because God said it in his word. But if you're not giving out as much, then you're really setting a bad example. So that has some truth to it too. Churches don't help people anymore. They don't help those in need. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day about this. Used to, if somebody was struggling and their life was about to get cut off, the first thing that somebody would suggest, or the first thing that they would do, is go to their church and they would talk to people and say, hey, this is what's going on. And the church would try to help them keep their lights on. Or if their car's messing up, they could go to the church and the church would try to help them find a way to get around. But nowadays, you go to church and you hear what I said a minute ago. Well, we're going to pray for you, brother. Well, we're going to pray for you, sister. It's one of the situations that I fell into. And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with this, because it's not. I understand where you're coming from. But there was a point in my life where I didn't have hardly any money and I had no way of getting around. And everything that I was paying for, all my money was going to my bills. So it was hard for me to get back and forth to work. Well, I was talking to church members and stuff, and talking to family and stuff, and family would come up and say something like, well, I saw this nice little car. It cost $3,000, and they said nothing was wrong with it. It just needed this and need that. Okay, that's nice, but I don't have $3,000. Would they accept payments? Oh, I don't know. I just was telling you. Okay, what good does that do? Or somebody say, man, I saw this nice car. It looks like it would go with you, that you fitted and stuff. And you should really check it out. How much was the car? Oh, it was $5,000. Okay, do they accept payments? I don't think so. I think you gotta have the money straight up. Okay, the problem that I'm having is I don't have money to get a car, or I would have got one already. So even though people be trying to help out in a way, at the same time, they're not getting to the root of the problem. Did somebody say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I got 3 vehicles at the house. I'll let you borrow one for a little while till you can get on your feet. Or I'll tell you what, I will help you take out a loan, and then as long as you make your payments, I will do this for you, or I will help you get the car. You know? Now, at the same time, people have used people so much and have burnt people so much that I can understand why people don't want to do that. But if you're a church member and you're being led by God and you prayed over it, if God told you to help that person in that type of way, you're not supposed to think, because God don't tell you anything to do unless he's going to watch your back on it. So we got to remember that. And church is a setup. People is setting up the religion. Now, a lot of people don't go to church because they have done research and things about Christians and this and that. And look, who am I to tell you, what to believe? And that's one of the biggest problems. One of the biggest problems in this world today is people is trying to push what they believe on someone else. They're trying to tell people what they should and should not do. That's the problem with church members. Well, if you went to church, this, and that. Well, if you follow this, and that. It's okay to talk about what you believe, but I feel like that you shouldn't press your beliefs on anybody else. Because when it boils down to it, you're going to be the one that's going to be judged at the end of your life, depending on what you believe in. Now, there are a lot of churches, when it talks about setting up, there are a lot of churches that want to press their beliefs on someone rather than discuss. There's a difference between pressing and discussing. There's a difference between agreeing to disagree and just cutting somebody completely sure at all. Two of my best friends in the wrestling world are agnostic and atheists. I am a churchgoer, I'm a Christian. You know, we don't turn around, we don't press our beliefs on anybody else. If I turn around and say I'm fixing to pray, if I turn around and say God bless you, they don't make a big deal about it because they don't even make smart comments about it. Now, if they say screw God, that is my God and Savior, but I don't turn around and I don't just bash them because of my God. Because that's what they believe. So a lot of times we have got to sit back and, talk to people and tell them what you feel, but at the same time, we got to be careful and tread lightly on how we present things to people. If they don't want to accept it, hey, that's on them. If you don't want to accept it, hey, that's on you. So learn to, let me go, got off topic. Church members, learn to discuss rather than press. Learn to discuss rather than press, where they won't feel like it is a setup. Okay, so this is my minute to take a break, and I will be back here shortly with the rest of Motivation Inspires. Go to church for what? I'll be back. Welcome back to the second part of Motivation Inspired called Go to Church for What? Now, let me tell you what happened. Normally, when I do two parts, I'll do the first part, and when I take a break, I take about a 10, 15-minute break, and I come back and record the second part. But this is what happened when I came back to record the second part. I got almost towards the end of what I was going to say, and I had to attend another matter. So I put it on pause or stopped it so I could come back and finish. And when I came back, guess what? The whole second part was gone. It caused me to be very frustrated, and my focus had gotten off, and I had decided that I was going to record this second part another day. Well, guess what? It is another day today, and I am going to finish this second part. So, to pick up where we left off, we finished where we talked about the church being a setup, and church members, just remember that when you project your beliefs on someone, don't push it on them. Just give your view, because you wouldn't want the same thing to happen to you. You wouldn't want an atheist or an agnostic person to turn around and push you to be what they are. And they don't want you to do that to them either. Offer your side just like they would offer their side, and then you decide on what you want to do or what you want to believe. Now, people that go to church all the time ask people that don't go to church, hey, why don't you go to church? But the people that don't go to church never ask them, hey, why should you go to church? Other than the obvious reason, what benefits will we have going to your church? Some of the reasons will include the following. You would be blessed by the word. Church members say that all the time. Oh, if you come to church, you will be blessed by the word. If you like to sing, you can sing in the choir. Woo! Sing your heart out. Sing all in the choir. You could be saved. You could be blessed. You come to church and you can get your life saved. Woo! Our church family is great. They're loving and they're friendly. Yes, us church members will say that all the time. But looking at a point of view from somebody that doesn't believe in all of that, what are they getting out of it? I mean, you'll be blessed. Okay, what if they already feel like that they're blessed? You can sing in the choir. Well, what if that's not the music they want to sing? Church family is this, that. I mean, if I want people to be a part of my family, I'm going to tell them my family's great. When in reality, there's some dysfunction in my family. Not saying it's bad dysfunction, but every family got a dysfunction going on somewhere. Nobody's family is perfect. All of these things sound good, but what are we actually doing to win them over? Okay, I'm going to use this as an example. You work for a man that just started a restaurant. The restaurant is great. The food is great. You think the restaurant is awesome. So you want to promote the restaurant. You want to get more people to come. So you come to this couple and you say, hey, I work at this restaurant and the food there is amazing. You should come. So the couple goes to ask you, well, why should we come to the restaurant? What kind of food do they got? Then you turn around and you say, oh, they got great food. The food is wonderful. You would love their food. Okay. Then they say, well, what kind of setting does the restaurant have? Oh, it's got an awesome setting. I mean, you could come and sit down and just enjoy yourself. Okay. So what about workers? Are the workers good or whatever? Oh, yeah, the workers are awesome. They work hard. They're great workers. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, you can't turn around and give a person a general idea. You got to give some kind of details that's going to catch their attention. What kind of food do they got there? Do they got Mexican food? Do they got Chinese food? Is it authentic? Is it something that they came up with on their own? Is it fried? Is it grilled? What makes the restaurant so great? Oh, it's got a soulful feel. Oh, it's got a high energetic feel. The workers, oh, they're excited. The workers will turn around and do this and do that. I mean, you got to give them more than something in general. And that's the same as in the church. If somebody is struggling in paying their bills and you're trying to get them to come to church, what reason would they have to come to the church if it doesn't help them pay their bills? Oh, because God is going to bless them. Yes, that's great and wonderful, but what if God is using you to bless that person? How is God going to bless the person? I mean, I know, but we're talking about the people that we're trying to get to come to church. I mean, if a woman is being beat, how is coming to church going to help her to keep her from being beat? Well, the word is going to give you confidence. Okay, is that it? The word, how is the word going to give you confidence? Because this is what they are going to be asking. Somebody that's in a gang. Why should somebody that run the streets and the drug dealers and all that come to church? What are they going to get out of it? See, you got to hit them where they know, oh, the church family has a program for people that are being beat, for wives that are being beat, for abusive people. Oh, the church goes out in the community and helps people that are poor. The church will come try to help you, not only try to help you pay your bill, but give you ways on how you can manage to pay your bills in the future. See, people is not looking to go somewhere just because it sounds good, just because you think it sounds good or look good. You got to give the people what they want to draw them. That's with anything. But we're talking about the church. You can't give them a general view of it. You can't give them a general explanation. You got to give them something that's going to catch their eye and catch their attention to come to church. And this is talking from a church member point of view to somebody that doesn't go. Because if somebody that doesn't go tries to draw people, say, why are you going to that church? They're going to give you a direct reason why not to go. Just like the reasons I gave earlier. Church members need to remember when asking people that do not go to church to come to church, have a reason that lines up with their needs and not a general reason. Do your church provide help to the less fortunate? Do your church offer anyone that can counsel? Do your church provide an open door policy? And that's a huge one right there, because a lot of people feel like they can't come to church because of how they dress. A lot of people feel like they can't come to church because they feel like they're going to be judged, which honestly, it doesn't matter what church you go to or what place you go to. There's going to be one or two or a few people that's going to judge you regardless. But you got to make them feel like that what those few people do as far as judging, the rest of the people is going to keep them from feeling judged. Do your church use some of their finances to give back? We discussed that in the first part. Is the pastor of the church giving back? And we discussed that too, but I'm going to hit that again. The pastor, if you are a leader, you got to lead by example. Lead by example. If the pastor of the church is driving around in a $2 billion car, I know I'm being exaggerative, but if a pastor of a church driving around in a $2 billion car and the church members are driving a Ford Escort from 1980, well, how does that look? Like I said in the first part, you got to lead by example, pastors. What is the church providing spiritually? Now, and this is kind of personal, one of the reasons why, and I have nothing against my church family, I love my church family, and I will go back and do anything for them because they're my church family. So, but there came a time when I had to leave my church family because I wasn't growing spiritually. I got so caught up, and I might have said something in the first part, I can't remember, but I got so caught up in doing things because it was part of being at the church that I wasn't growing spiritually, and God had carried me somewhere else to go, and it was to grow in spirit. So, and like I said, I might have said something in the first part about it, so I'm not going to get into details because my time is fixing to be about up on this, which I don't have a real time limit, but I'll try to give a time limit when I can. So, and you might hear some people in the background, but it's okay. But I had to go somewhere to grow spiritually. So that's what I got. That's what I had to do. And sometimes that's what you got to do. Remember, treat people the way you want to be treated. If someone comes to you about their beliefs, how would you want them to come? This is just a recap. You don't want people, as I said before, you don't want people to come and press their beliefs on you. I mean, you want them to give their side, but you don't want them to press their beliefs on you. So remember that. They ask, why should I go to church? But they can also ask church members, why do you go to church? Church members, you must remember that when you come to somebody that doesn't go to church, when you come to somebody that doesn't believe what you believe, that they're looking at it from a different standpoint, just like you're looking at theirs from your standpoint. So come at them correctly. Don't put too much pressure on them. Come at them and give them something to think about. That's all, any and always. So you got to remember that, church members. When somebody asks you, go to church, for what? Give them a reason. And people that don't go to church for what? They have some reasonings of their own. So we got to keep all of that in mind. This is not to draw people to go to church. This is also not to keep people from going to church as well. So don't take it the wrong way. So that is going to be it for this podcast. Some announcements. When I recorded the first part, I was still the champion, but I have since lost that. So I know, it's been a crazy whatever, but it is what it is. I will get my championship back. I'm still working hard in the gym, and it will come back. Tune into OWO, the next show. I don't know when it's going to be, but go to the website, megaowo.com, and you can tune into the next show. And also, keep tuning into my website. I know I haven't been very active on there. I'm still trying to adjust to this new life of mine, but hopefully I'll be able to get back on track. And now that I got a little schedule going, I'll be able to do some things. Let me go on and say the next podcast. When I start my next podcast, it's going to be pretty much a series. We're going to go into the dating pool. I am very excited about doing this because there's a lot that I got to say about the dating pool. There's some personal things that I've dealt with, and I feel like I can talk about it. I got a lot to talk about. So you might want to tell your friends and stuff to tune in. Go to my Facebook page. I haven't been very active on there lately, but go to Motivation Inspired or Motivation Nation and add that page for the next update to my podcast. And we're going to talk about the dating pool. I haven't decided the first episode of that yet, but when I do, I will post it. Like I said, the more people that listen, the better. And our binge song of the week. Now, this song has been banging in my head. I've been playing it on my way to work and on my way back. It's by Dua Lipo. I think I said that right. Lupe or whatever. You could also listen to the remix by The Baby. But the song is called Levitating. I have been dancing and jamming to that song, Levitating by Dua Lipo. Go check it out. I'm telling you, it's got a good beat and you will fall in love with it. And that is my time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love y'all and I hope that y'all have a blessed day. And as always, I hope I can motivate and inspire your life one more time.